Greetings, I am Herbert Erpaderp, and it's Thursday, and that means it's time for Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, so let's get this party started. And by party I mean video, which isn't really like a party at all, is it? Anyway, on to the questions. On Discord, Duncanuva said, which would win, the Airfix Bismarck or the sensible purple Bismarck? Obviously the sensible purple one is going to win, it's purple. If you're referring to my Airfix Bismarck, it would probably just insta-sync. You didn't specify what they would win at, so maybe if it's a drag race and they're not battling, then my Airfix Bismarck hull would certainly be in with a chance. It would be much lighter and therefore faster without all of the superstructure on top of it. But if it's a battle, then I'm pretty sure the purple Bismarck would win. It's just way too sensible to lose. Penfold O7 said, can you run a competition to find the worst Airfix kit ever made and then build it? That doesn't really sound like a lot of fun to me. I mean, not only would it involve going out of my way to build a really poor quality kit, but it's also kind of negative. I'd kind of be going out of my way to shit on things, which is something I don't really like to do. It is a kind of amusing concept in a way, but I don't really want to put the effort into something that's got more of a negative focus. Wacko said, if you wanted a T26 and only had a Vickers 6-ton, would you 7TP then? When? This is confusingly worded. If I only had a Vickers 6-ton and really wanted a T26, I might just paint it Russian and say that it's a T26 and rivet counters be damned. But the 6-ton, 7TP and T26 are pretty much all the same thing, more or less. Either I would just use the Vickers 6-ton as a proxy, or I'd just go and get a T26 and then I would have both. Harry Robinson said, a few months ago I mentioned miniature live steam engines and you said that you are interested in them, but did not have the mechanical experience to build one. Well, I recently found a company called DR Mercer who make mini traction engine kits to a scale of 5/8 of an inch. These kits are simple and pre-machined. They are quite pricey though, £650 for a kit, but they are high quality models. If you are interested, a bit of saving and you could probably get one. They do look pretty cool and I would like to have one. It's not quite the same as a steam locomotive though it is still pretty rad. £650 has got to be around $1,200 Australian and I imagine the shipping isn't the cheapest either, but I did still enjoy having a look. If I happen to find myself suddenly flush with cash, this is one of the things that I would consider throwing money at. Top Bunk Productions said, is it true that your beard contains the secrets of the universe? Well, yeah, but I can't tell you any of them, they're secrets. My beard is a good storage space for all kinds of things. Bits of food, secrets of the universe, fugitives, you name it. Additionally, Top Bunk Productions said, I dare you to watch your first modelling video, and he's linked it here. If I remember, I will link it in the description. The question is, what do you think looking back on it? The voiceover audio seems to be panned to the left for some reason, and my microphone was pretty bad back then. I feel like I was speaking too fast and without much expression at all. I didn't edit out any breaths or other mouthy noise bits, nor did I edit for pacing or anything like that. Also, I don't really like the sped up bits where I was clipping parts off the sprue and such. At any rate, it's not as embarrassing or as bad as I was expecting it to be. I think I've gotten a lot better at making videos over the years. Jihad Teppo said, have you ever scratch built anything like a box, add-on armour or buildings? Not much. I've done things like make machine gun barrels out of brass rod and things like that, and I've also built some wall out of cork. The ones I remember are the walls for a V1 flying bomb diorama I made a few years ago, and I also made some roughly 15mm scale burned out houses from cork. I've got no idea where they've gotten to. They might be lost forever. I might actually try and do some more scratched built things. It might be fun. I do have a couple of ideas for cargo pallets and things like that to use as scatter terrain for the warehouse I painted recently. It does look a little bit bare. Max W said, would you ever consider doing a taking kit? They can get a little pricey, but they are of a very high quality. I'm going to assume that you mean TACOM, because I've never heard of taking kits, but yes, I have seen them in the hobby shops and have been tempted. I've also seen them on Andy's hobby headquarters. He's built a couple of them and they do look very good. Maybe I'll treat myself sometime. My birthday is coming up. Ratto said, if you won $10 million from lottery, would the local model shop owner become a millionaire too? Depends on if they have enough stock that's of interest to me to generate $1 million in profit. It might not be $1 million, but they would definitely see an increase in their profits. I mean, I'm not just going to give them $1 million or anything like that. I'm pretty impulsive, and if money wasn't an object, I would just be out buying anything that catches my eye because I'm an irresponsible child. Ratto also asked, have you tried homemade iced tea? If you have, what kind and how was it? I don't believe I have. I pretty much never drink commercial iced tea and have never really felt an urge to try and make it myself, and I don't think I know anyone that does, though I would try it if it was offered to me. Burner581 said, I'm not sure if you're into 40k much, but I will ask anyway. What do you think of Imperial Knights? These guys in case you need a reference. I mostly feel indifferent to 40k these days, though I did get a good chuckle out of the salty 40k players and their reactions to the 40k kids book that came out, or whatever it was. They do have some cool models, and that angry shooty chainsaw man is one of them. It's absurd and ridiculous, and that's what makes it cool. I don't really know anything about how they play or their fluff or anything like that, so I don't have any opinions there. Penfold O7 said, will you buy the new Plastic Soldier Company Valentine box set? What is your favourite gaming system and why? Do you like cats? I see you have built resin kits. Do you take respiratory precautions? I do plan to get some PSC Valentines. They look to be a pretty nice little kit. I'm not sure when I'll pick them up, but I will get my hands on them someday. Probably fairly soon. I guess my favourite gaming system at the moment would be Bolt Action. I don't really play enough games to develop favourites or anything like that, and I'm not especially picky. As long as I can have fun playing, I'm okay. Bolt Action appeals to me because it's fairly simple, and I quite like the asymmetric order dice thing, rather than you go, I go, you go, I go. If you're talking about video gaming systems, then PC. I do like cats, and I kind of wish I had one so that I could rub its fluffy belly, but cats really enjoy destroying models, so I don't think I'll get one. One of the reasons I don't so much like resin kits is because of the dust and having to wear a mask. Though to be fair, that is a pretty small reason. I do wear a mask if I'm doing any sanding or filing on a resin model. Not a super fancy mask or anything like that, just one of the basic white ones, whatever you would call them. The only time I don't is when I'm just going to zip off a little bit of material really quickly, like if I just have to go zip, zip. It feels like it would take an annoyingly long time to put the mask on just for that. That's my little mask rebellion anyway. I would definitely recommend taking care of your lungs. Resin dust doesn't seem like it would be fun. Even if it doesn't give you cancer, you probably don't really want it sitting in your lungs. Speaking of lungs, recently I finally bought a fume extracty thing for airbrushing. No more fan and cardboard box for me. You'll start seeing that in videos soon. Jihad Teppo said, can you say highly amusing in the most monotone voice possible? Normally I'd want to be paid for saying specific things like that, but why not? Highly amusing. Are you planning on using that in something, or do you just think it'll be funny? Penfold O7 said, did you ever see the F111 dump and burn routine while they were in service? How many games have you played in World of Tanks now, and do you have any tier 10 tanks? I saw the F111 dump and burn a number of times. They used to do them pretty much any time there was a fireworks display in the city, like New Year's and things like that. It was pretty cool. I just logged into World of Tanks and checked. Apparently I've played 17,725 games. That sounds like a lot, but to be fair, it is spread out over quite a few years. I have been playing since 2010 or maybe the beginning of 2011, I'm not sure, but it has been quite a long while. Somebody actually raged at me the other day while I was streaming because I have so many games and wasn't playing how they wanted me to, assuming they wanted me to be all serious business and try-hard mode. It was pretty funny. So I have been playing the game for quite a long time, and I have managed to blunder my way into 3 tier 10s, the Mouse, IS-7 and IS-4, along with a handful of tier 9s. I used to be more interested in grinding and getting higher tier tanks, but I lost interest in that because it was just getting to be a chore trying to log in every day and get my 2 times XP for the first battles and such. I now use my time much more productively. Also, I just don't really enjoy tier 9 and 10 battles very much. They mostly involve the team sitting behind rocks waiting, and I don't enjoy that playstyle. I have a lot more fun being reckless and trying to do jumps, and so that's how I play. Apparently it upsets some people, and at 17,000 games I should know better or something. Ooh, tanks are serious business. Penfold also said, when will you paint your comet tanks? I'm not sure. Eventually. Maybe while I paint the Cromwells from the Armoured Battle Group box. At the moment I feel like painting something that isn't green, but they will get done eventually. Xenogrief said, have you ever listened to Black Tartan Clan? They're a Scottish rock band. I have now. I had a quick listen through a bit of their stuff, and without looking any further than that, I'd say they're probably fans of the Dropkick Murphys. They remind me of a slightly less tight version of that kind of music. Not bad, I'll listen to more of their stuff later. Some dude said, what's your favourite movie or book? I don't know. I always say that I'm bad at picking favourites. I mean, I like a lot of movies and they don't really need to compete with each other after all. We watched The Blues Brothers the other night, and that's one of the movies I've loved since I was a kid, but I can't really think of anything that stands out as a favourite. The same goes for books. I could say Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit or the Foundation series by Isaac Asimov, but I don't know. I'm listening to the Serpent War books by Raymond E. Feist at the moment, and those are pretty good. Also, if you want something funny, Look Who's Back is one of the funniest books I've listened to. The movie was pretty good too, but it's only in German. It's about Hitler who has come back in modern times and people think he's a comedian. I would definitely recommend it. It's probably not much of an answer. I don't have an ultimate favourite because I'm just too indecisive. Lizalica1 said, have you been to any countries outside of Australia, and do you want to go to any particular one, and why? I've not left Australia, mostly because I've never had the kind of money that would allow it. We're pretty far away from everywhere that I would be really interested in going to. I would like to go to England, primarily so that I could go to the Bovington Tank Museum, along with any other museums and sites that might be of interest. Also, I would kind of like to see some friends that live there. Canada would also be nice, mostly because I would like to see some friends that live there too. And also their trees and rocks and trees and trees and rocks and rocks and trees and water. I'm an idiot. A tour through Europe visiting interesting World War II locations would be pretty great too. On last week's Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, I said I was going to get pizza, and some dude asked what kind of pizza did I get. I got the meaty one from Pizza Capers. I believe it's called Barbecue Bonanza. It's got lots of meat and it was very tasty. Michael Ormiston said, have you ever built a model kit with a larger scale than 1/32? And what is the largest scale model you've made? Technically I haven't built one larger than 1/32 scale, but I do have an RCT 3485 which is 1/16 scale, and it has extra detail parts that you have to add yourself, like fuel tanks and things like that, but I don't think that really counts as actually building the model. I don't really have space for any large scale models like that though, so I've never really seriously considered buying any kits that big. Ethan Rowland said, are you coming to the Melbourne Scale Model Show on Queen's birthday weekend? Probably not. Melbourne is really far away and I don't think I could justify the cost and time investment. In other news, I learned that the Queen's birthday is celebrated much sooner in Melbourne than here in Queensland, which is kind of weird. Apparently in Melbourne it's about 2 weeks away, and here I think it's in October or November or something. Either way, that's really short notice, so I definitely won't be there. But if you're going and you happen to take some pictures, do share them in the miniatures section on Discord if you feel like it. Speaking of which, question time has ended, and it is now time to check out the models shared on Discord. I have definitely omitted some pictures this week because of time, but you can head over to my Discord channel, go to the miniatures channel, scroll up a bit and you'll be able to see everything. Top Bunk Productions shared his current work in progress, this Stuart which is covered in machine guns, and it has been dubbed Beelzebub. Lots of cool scratch building and kit bashing here, including this piece of thin rod to represent a rope or some kind of control mechanism for the 30 cal. He's also painted the commander. Here he is peeking out of his little cupola. Very cool. The Stuart came with some damage and smoke markers. These are included on most of the newer bolt action kits. Top Bunk has actually made it look quite good here. This is a nice action shot of his Panzer IV with additional armor bits in the middle of having its turret explosively removed. Also, Top Bunk found a really cool use for the spare Stuart turret from the Warlord kit. A Panzerturm bunker. Really nice creative work here. Penfold O7 has shared this nicely painted Airfix Belfast from back in 2005. That feels like such a long time ago. I can't speak of the quality of the model, but the painting certainly is good. And here's something he's working on now, a Challenger 1 Mark III. And here it is built and ready for paint. Also ready for paint is this SU-100 by Dragon. And here's a Sheridan that he's been working on too. The basic assembly of this one is done now. And that's not all. Here's two more tanks Penfold has started working on. An Airfix Centurion and a JB Models /Airfix M113 FSV. I can't wait to see all these models when they're painted. Ratto shared these, which are his oldest models to date. They're Chaos Mages from 1984, almost as old as me. They do look a little bit simple by today's standards of sculpting, but they're kind of cool in their own way. Here's some metal Dreadnoughts painted around 2012, including one with a missing arm that was never found. These ones are plastic. And here's one angry unpainted boy next to a painted one, who seems to be a bit less angry. These are pretty cool. Ratto also shared these old Rogue Trader era Space Marines from between 1985 and 1988 or so. Before most of you were probably born. They were painted much later though. He also shared this crazy looking old school Land Raider, not painted by Ratto, but he says he does have 3 of them. I think I prefer the later designs, but this one is interesting too. Max W shared some more work on his MC202. Here, the propeller is not yet attached. Max suggested that it might need a new engine, but then, the pizza is ready to be eaten. Om nom nom nom. You're making me hungry again, damn it. Also, very nice work. Crimson 1149 has shared his new Viking / Norse Gale warband for Saga. They look like friendly chaps. And here are some of his Shermans. Crimson bought the old open fire set from a friend and has added the Shermans from it to his collection. I'm sure everybody could always do with a couple more Shermans. And here's a big stompy Imperial Walker next to the little stompy Rebel Walker. Very cool. Then there's these half-tracks that are being painted for a friend. At this stage they just need weathering and decals. Jihad Teppo has built this Chieftain Mk5. This is a 1/35th scale kit from Tamiya. And here it is with some paint, looking pretty good. Here you can see that the mantlet cloth has been added. A piece of rubber glove has been used to do this. Jihad Teppo says that it looks a lot better in real life, but it looks pretty convincing in the picture too. Nice resourceful use of gloves. James Valentine shared his birthday haul. Nice haul, also happy birthday. Here's the result of a night and morning of work. James can now Sturmhetz. And all done. At least the construction part anyway. Next it's time for painting the Hetzer. 4 hours later and this is the result. I think it looks really great. Keep up the amazing work. James also shared this Meng Toon Tank's T-3476. The Light Spore shared this Dreadnought. I quite like the black and white scheme you've done here. I may not be super into 40k, but it's always fun to see big stompy angry mans. Lieutenant Colonel John Frost shared this mouse. This is the Warlord Resonant Metal Kit. Here you can see that some paint has been added and it looks quite good. And here it only needs the commander and tracks to be painted and some weathering. Nice work. I hope we see more of this monster in the future. And here are his first 3 Volks Grenadiers and an Opel Blitz truck. General Spade has shared some photos he took while playing a game of bolt action. The first battle, Germans vs Russians, ended in a draw, while the second game, Britain vs Finland, ended with the Finns finishing Britain. RIP Brits. The big boy added these to his diecast collection. Look at that Raupen schlepper, schlepping all the Raupens. He then went back to the classic car show where he got this elephant and puma. Punky Ryan shared his Mengtoons B17. It's ready to spread tiny freedom. Post-Apo Gestapo shared this Sherman. He says it didn't quite work out as he would like. I think that's pretty common amongst us modelers, and other creative types too, I guess. It is some really good work though, so keep at it and maybe you'll eventually build something that you're super happy with. That's one of my goals. Of course, it's not a competition, so really you're the only one that has to be happy with it. Duncanuva bought the 1/72nd scale M7 Priest-and Kangaroo set, and reports that it was a fun, easy build. And that's all the models for this week. There were quite a few of them. Thanks to everybody who shared. Your excellent work is inspiring and makes me want to paint more and more, so keep it up. Before I go, I'll just quickly let you know that there won't be an Ask a Herbert Erpaderp next week. I've got a whole bunch of things to catch up on, and I also kind of want to use some of the time to get next month's painting video ready. So Ask a Herbert Erpaderp is going to sacrifice itself for next week, but do feel free to ask any questions that you want an answer to in a fortnight's time. No, not the game. I mean fortnight as in 2 weeks. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, it would be awesome if you were to subscribe to me here on YouTube, follow me on social media, and watch me live stream on Twitch. And if you really like the things I do, please consider helping to support the channel over at Patreon, or by buying a shirt or mug from my merch store. Links to all of those things in the description below. And as always, I shall return soon, so until then, be excellent to each other and thanks for watching. Farewell.